Hi, everyone. My name is Danielle. I'll be presenting Leadership and Storytelling by Ludmila Mládková for my resource evaluation. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so I isolated the main idea as storytelling is a powerful and valuable tool of communication for leaders. So the author Mládková argues that there is an intrinsic link between stories, storytelling, and leadership, or rather, maybe even good leadership has better storytelling. So first I'll define leadership, define story and storytelling, and make connections and have some final thoughts. All right, let's define leadership first. Mládková goes through and explains different types of leadership theories. And the one that stands out the most to me was the transformational theory, the study of the relationship between leader and follower, because a lot of the rhetoric that Mládková uses is the exploration between how leaders affect followers through stories. Okay, let's go ahead and define stories. So defining a story can be defined or described as an account of imaginary or real people and events. Also, it can be described as a complex system of symbols. For storytelling, it can be described as anything told or recounted. Some people, or Mládková in particular, talks about it as a powerful tool for communication and tacit knowledge sharing. Okay, so now to break down stories even further. There was a lot of information about stories, so I organized what I could glean into three categories. That would be story manifestations, story creators, and story types. In the first two columns, we see the highlighted section, account, chronicles, tales, reports, and news. And these types of story manifestations convey real or objective information. The rest of them that are not highlighted have a basis in more imaginary or made up stories or information. Story creators are anybody from individuals to organizations, so individuals to groups. Story types, we have negative stories, which relay information about danger or problems that are solved or not solved, and this helps convey lessons learned. Positive stories convey a victory or fulfilled desires, and this helps share visions and goals. Formal stories are given in professional settings and are usually those highlighted manifestations that I have in the first column. And then we have the transformational story, which is a springboard story, and it shares tacit knowledge and can change how people understand their reality. Anti-stories negate other people's stories, so anything against another story. So what can stories do? Stories can provide a channel through which one can communicate tacit knowledge or knowledge gained through experiences. It is difficult to extract or express these ideas, and Mládková talks a lot about this. Leaders use stories in different ways, and for me, I think storytelling is a tool that helps leaders influence others, transcend bias, and characterize the values of an organization, and we'll learn more about that in a second. Leaders use stories in many different ways, as you can see here. You're welcome to read through those. I'm going to highlight a couple on the next slide. In my mind, the most important roles of storytelling were overcoming barriers, improving creativity, being a change agent, and establishing a shared culture. According to Mládková, a proper story helps a leader to overcome mental barriers that people build against new knowledge. So think along the lines of stereotypes, biases, and or ethnocentrism. A story can work as a catalyst of change. All right, and two examples of this would be JFK's address to the Houston Ministerial Association and Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech. Both of these speeches or stories elevate the listener to the state of being the protagonist of the story, so it's a shared endeavor, and it helps communicate both of these leaders' visions. For her research, Mládková interviewed 145 organizations in the Czech Republic, and here are some of the results. As you could see, the research revealed that organizations did not understand the potential for storytelling to be a method of positive influence. So my own final thoughts. Why I chose this article, stories have played a huge role in my life. I've witnessed firsthand how they can affect how people are perceived. When I was 30 years old, my older sister was killed while cycling to work, and the stories that the police, the judicial system, and many others told affected how they perceived her after death. All right, As a last point, I'd just like for you to read what or who is missing. This is part of my critical feminist theory like background. I just like to think about what's not in part of the story of the article, and then my own personal lens, just to let you know. You're welcome to read that.